Pokemon Legends ZA is bringing to us a brand new phenomenon that's occurring in the Kalos region. This is called Rogue Mega Evolution. While this phenomenon is new, this idea of wild Pokemon Mega Evolving without a trainer, while this is new to the franchise, it is very similar to a lot of other things we've seen in the franchise. I'm talking in the games, in the anime, all kinds of stuff. Today, we're aiming to answer the question, what exactly is going on with these Rogue Mega Evolutions in Lumio City? Welcome back to the post where we talk about all things Pokemon, and today we'll be talking about these Rogue Mega Evolutions and trying to figure out what exactly is going on here. So first off, what do we know about this? Well, we know that there are wild Pokemon in Lumio City. This is part of the urban redevelopment plan that seems to be being spearheaded by Quasartico Inc., where basically Lumio City, this metropolis, is being turned into a place for both people and Pokemon. Of course, with that, you're going to see some clashes, right? Like, you know, nature and city doesn't always mix. And one example we're seeing of that is what's going on with these rogues. There are some Pokemon that are capable of Mega Evolution. For example, the trailer shows us an Absol and a Tyranitar. And these Pokemon seem to be in a lot of pain and seem to have a just surge of infinity energy in them that is causing them to Mega Evolve on their own. This is really, really suspicious because up until now, Pokemon Mega Evolution's been pretty clearly defined. You have to have a trainer with a keystone. That trainer, we're told, has to have a strong bond with the Pokemon they're Mega Evolving. And then the Pokemon they're Mega Evolving has to be holding a Mega Stone, unless your name is Rayquaza. And truthfully, even Rayquaza, they give us an explanation on why it doesn't have to hold one. Yet, here are Pokemon that do seem to be holding a Mega Stone, as when you defeat them, you are given a Mega Stone for whatever Pokemon you defeated. So if you defeat Absol, you are given an Absolite. But they have no trainer. They have no strong bond to a trainer. They have no trainer holding a keystone. We're also told here that these Pokemon are feeling so much power that they are in pain. Now, this is an interesting thing to me because that's true for just Mega Evolution in general, it seems. We've seen this with Pokemon who can Mega Evolve in general. You know, you have these dex entries from Pokemon Sun and Moon and Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon that seems to describe the process being painful for a large amount of Pokemon like Scizor and Heracross and Glalie, etc., etc. And then also, we've seen this in the anime with just a trainer's Mega Pokemon. We see the first few times that Karina Mega Evolves Lucario, it seems to get so much power surging through it that it goes berserk. And honestly, you know, call me a, sympathetic person, I guess, but I think Lucario kind of seems like it's in pain in that scene. So it's interesting that they're drawing to the idea that these Pokemon are in pain when they've previously pretty much told us that all Mega Pokemon are in pain, which tells me that these Pokemon are in a tremendous amount of more pain. And that's not good, right? But this phenomenon is very, very similar to a lot of other phenomenons we've seen. So first off, right now in the anime, and don't worry, I'm going up to English dub here. I'm not going to spoil you too hard on everything. But we see this thing called Laquium or Rakurium in the Japanese version of the anime. And what this is a crystal-like thing that, for whatever reason, we don't really know all the science behind it, at least not yet, can make Pokemon way stronger, just like Mega Evolution, but also causes them to feel a tremendous amount of pain, just like Mega Evolution. It even makes them go berserk or go rogue, So very similar to what's going on here with Rogue Mega Evolutions, the anime does seem to like to kind of play around with ideas being presented in the game. This is something they've done way since the beginning of the Pokemon franchise. I mean, even now in Horizons, a series that's kind of taken its own story, they still have visited familiar story beats of the Pokemon world, like, for example, introducing us to characters like Nimona and Penny and Arven, and also allowing us to see them take on the Terrestrial course in the Paldea region. Another thing I want to mention about Lockweum is that, again, it's these pink little crystals that we see. And one thing that we're shown from the website for Pokemon Legends EA is that there will be these Mega Evolution crystals around Lumio City, and you can have your Pokemon destroy them, which will allow you to get some Mega Energy that can be used for stone. So, it's just interesting that there is a crystallized version of Mega Evolution, and it obviously kind of looks similar in appearance to the Lockweum, but, that's neither here nor there. Another phenomenon that's occurred in the anime, specifically in the Volcanion and Magearna movie, is Volcanion the Mechanical Marvel, is the name of that movie in English dub, I believe. There is this phenomenon called Mega Wave, which is very similar to Mega Evolution, more similar than Lockweum or even this Rogue Mega Evolution, where Pokemon are Mega Evolving. They do have the Mega Stones, and the person Mega Evolving them has made an artificial Keystone. So it's not a real Keystone, it's an artificial Keystone. And he's forcing the Mega Evolution. And basically what's going on here is, what's missing is that, for one, of course, not an organic Keystone, but also, two, this man does not have a strong bond with his Pokemon. In fact, it's implied that there is a sort of hatred between them, but he's able to Mega Evolve them anyways. He's able to force them into evolution. There's been this idea proposed in the anime that evolution seems to be like a consent thing, where, like Ash's Bulbasaur doesn't want to evolve, and so Ash doesn't let it, and Pikachu doesn't want to evolve, so Ash doesn't, make it touch a Thunderstone or anything like that. And this man, the idea of him forcing these Pokemon to Mega Evolve against their will is kind of, oh, that's why he's evil, or whatever, But this is kind of similar to that, where these Pokemon are Mega Evolving from anger and pain, it seems. This is also very similar to something we see in Pokemon Ranger Shadows of Almia, where Team Dim Sum is using this thing called and I'm going to read this to see if I can get the pronunciation right, Gigaramos, to basically force Pokemon to kind of do their bidding, and it's making these Pokemon go berserk. It also seems to come from these dark crystals. The origin of this mechanic comes from dark crystals. We also see in various games like Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, as well as in, it's kind of nodded at in Pokken Tournament, we see something called Shadow Pokemon, which are basically, again, like this idea of hate. It's also in Pokemon Go. This idea of flooding a Pokemon with hate to make it more powerful, but kind of at the expense of the Pokemon's soul and at the expense of the Pokemon's well-being as well. But interestingly, while all these mechanics are similar, the only one that features Mega Evolution is Mega Wave. And even with Mega Wave, we do see that there is a Mega Stone, there is a Keystone, and there is a connection between the trainer and his Pokemon. It's just hate versus love, which makes sense. We know that hate and love can impact a Pokemon, like how the move Return will do more damage if the Pokemon has high friendship with you, whereas the move Frustration will do high damage if the Pokemon has a lot of hate for you. So it makes sense that he would be able to take advantage of something that we know can impact a Pokemon. So my proposal here is this. These rogue Mega Pokemon in Lumio City are basically, they have a few of the traits, right? They do have the anger, the hate that Pokemon who are Mega Evolving through Mega Wave have. They also do have the Mega Stone. The only thing that's missing is the Keystone. Or is it? Perhaps the plot of Legends EA will be us finding out that these rogue Mega Evolutions are intentional. Perhaps it's a way to destroy parts of the city to rebuild something. Like, okay, so for example, in the city I'm in, this is a true story, breaking immersion for a moment. In the city I'm in, there has been this, like, conspiracy theory because there's a current shopping center, but years ago, that shopping center was a beautiful forest, home to a lot of wildlife, and then one day there was a controlled burning that got way out of hand, and this forest was destroyed, and now there's a shopping center there. And there's been this kind of conspiracy theory in the community that the controlled burning was purposefully let out of control so that this forest could be destroyed and the city could make money with a new shopping center. So likewise, we could be seeing perhaps Quasartico Inc. having some kind of artificial keystone sending out that wave across Lumio City, and it's making these Pokemon go berserk. And their goal is, destroy a couple buildings nearby so we can rebuild something else, maybe impact the environment in a certain way so we can excuse something. It might be a way to push something that, they want pushed that maybe isn't so good for the city. I don't know, but either way, my proposal is that that's what this would be. I mean, after all, we know that sitting in the middle of Lumio City is the Prism Tower. And the Prism Tower is very similar to a radio tower. Similarly, the Eiffel Tower, which is the real-world inspiration for the Prism Tower, was actually at one point used by the military as a kind of a radio center, using the antenna of the Eiffel Tower as a radio antenna. They even, if I'm not mistaken, to this day have a radio station sitting under it. So similarly, we could see in this game, we know that the Prism Tower doesn't seem to be a gym anymore. There's no gym symbol on it on the map or in the shots we've seen of it in the trailer. So perhaps Quasartico Inc. has acquired this tower and is using it as a radio tower to send out these signals across Lumio City, and that's what's causing these rogue mega evolutions. Even with the reveal of the Rust Syndicate, I definitely think that Quasartico Inc. is sus, and I also think that these rogue mega Pokemon aren't just happening, there's gotta be something causing this, and I think whether intentional or unintentional, it's going to involve the Prism Tower and something from it causing this. But be sure to let me know your theories on this in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and until next time, I'll see all of you later.